All businesses want to make more money, but all too often, they lose customers at the last moment by sending them to a poor checkout experience. After working so hard to acquire customers and get them to the point of conversion, potential revenue is lost on the final step. What we hear from businesses is that it can be surprisingly hard to solve for conversion, and that's because the complexity is so high with many factors to optimize. You need to solve for changing customer preferences, like growing use of mobile checkout and growing use of new payment options like buy now, pay later. You also need to be careful about fraud, which is expected to grow 18% this year. But you might not want to be too careful. Businesses may lose 75 times more revenue to false declines than actual fraud. Managing all of this complexity, staying ahead of changing preferences, balancing your fraud approach with overall acceptance, adjusting for edge cases, and so on, it's a ton of work. I'm Cameron from the Stripe Payments team, and today we wanted to share some of what Stripe is working on to help you solve these conversion challenges and navigate this landscape as easily as possible. To walk you through what we're working on, it's helpful to look at it as a purchase funnel. Often businesses measure their progress against a funnel that looks something like this: creating awareness, getting users to consider you, and so on, until they've added something to cart and completed a purchase. But many are missing some of the nuance before this last step. For online payments, there's a whole other set of funnel steps you need to get through before a purchase is complete. First, you have to get a user from the cart to your payment form, get them to click buy, check for fraud or other issues, authorize payments with the network, and then a purchase is complete. Many of these steps can be almost invisible to your customers, but optimizing them can have a meaningful impact on your conversion. We're going to walk you through how Stripe is working across this funnel to help your business create revenue. To walk through this first step, I'm going to hand it over to Sam from the Stripe checkout team.
Thanks, Cameron. The first step in our funnel is checkout completion, the time from the payment form loading to the user actually clicking the buy button. What stops your customer from making that click? Well, it turns out that 21% of potential customers who abandon orders cite a confusing or long checkout form as the reason why. And that's assuming they bothered to try and figure it out at all. Potential customers will often leave quickly if a payment form doesn't have their preferred language or preferred payment methods or doesn't load properly. Stripe has a suite of payments interfaces that are designed to help you manage this friction. Checkout is a feature-packed, fast online payments form that's fully optimized and ready to go. Stripe Elements is a set of optimized pre-built components that let you build your own custom form. And our native mobile SDKs let you bring these flexible, embeddable components to mobile apps. First, let's dive into checkout. Creating a smart, high-conversion payment page requires you to build for dozens of potential user flows and optimize things like payment page performance, mobile responsiveness, localization, design, and more. These flows and edge cases are often the last thing your product team wants to think about. To take just one example, let's say your business is based in the US, and you've put in the effort to build a shipping address form that auto-completes and validates addresses. But now your business is expanding to Japan, and for some reason your Japanese customers are saying that address form isn't working properly. That's because addresses in Japan are entered postal code first, whereas US addresses start with street number. So all the effort you put into address autocomplete isn't working unless you redesign the entire form. If you tried to build this logic yourself, it might take a week to get the experience your Japanese customers expect. That's a week away from your core business just to optimize one spec for one country. You're left with a bad choice. Attempt to invest in a lot of resources learning how to build something that's not your core focus, or skip building these kinds of optimizations altogether because it's not your core focus. Either way, you've left opportunity on the table. This is why we built Stripe Checkout. Checkout is a feature-packed and always improving hosted payment page designed to optimize for dozens of conversion levers. It also comes with native support for subscriptions, taxes, and more. Our goal with Checkout is to make it easier for businesses to get started with online payments and to focus on their core product, letting Stripe handle payments performance. That's why in the past year, we've shipped more than 20 major improvements to Checkout, all of which benefit every Checkout user with no extra work and no extra cost. And all of these built-in, continuously updated optimizations mean Checkout helps your business make more money. We've seen really exciting results so far. Tiller is a company that makes smart spreadsheets to help consumers securely track and plan their finances. When they implemented Stripe Checkout, they saw a 90% increase in trial setups, all while significantly simplifying their codebase. Group Greeting makes customizable digital greeting cards. They implemented Checkout as part of an A/B test versus another solution and saw an 8% increase in conversion rate. Part of how businesses have moved so quickly, gotten so much leverage, and seen additional revenue from Checkout is that it pulls together the best of Stripe in a single integration. Subscription businesses can get started with Checkout seamlessly using Stripe Billing, handling all the edge cases around displaying trials, pricing, and discounts. And now, you can use Stripe Tax to automatically calculate and collect sales tax, VAT, and GST on Stripe payments. You can add Stripe tax to your integration with one line of code. Stripe will then monitor your payments so you know when and where you need to register, and it will automatically collect the right amount of tax in every transaction. Let's take a closer look at how this all comes together. To bring checkout to life, let's walk through a sample purchase from Powder, which is a fake beauty brand we've created. To get started, Powder sets up their brand settings in the dashboard. Then, Powder sets up their checkout sessions based on their product details. With just a single line of code each, they can specify what they'll need for each payment, like promo codes, physical address collection for shipping, pre-calculated tax rates using Stripe Tax, and additional customization by adding the return policy next to the payment form. Now let's take a look at what Powder's customers will see. Let's add to cart and see what a real checkout will look like. You'll see a lot of what we built into checkout to remove friction. For example, we can simulate a mobile checkout and see how the form is fully responsive. Checkout also comes with pre-built localization to over 25 languages. When we look at how checkout adapts to a German buyer, you can see it's automatically translated and the payment options have changed. On the purchase details side, we can add a promo code, which you can set up in the dashboard or by API, and checkout will automatically update the total. Moving over to buyer details, let's enter our customer email. Checkout actually knows to look for errors in common domains and suggests a correction, which we can accept. Next, when we put in an address, Checkout has a pre-built integration with the Google Maps API to autocomplete addresses around the world. And once our address is in, you can see our taxes have automatically calculated and updated our total. Now we're ready to enter payment details. And once that's in, we can choose to save our payment details for next time, which we'll confirm using our phone number. And the purchase is done. Building with Checkout gets you access to all these improvements, and all the ones we'll add in the future automatically. But now you can get started without needing to build anything at all. Payment Links lets you create a checkout page you can share with just a few clicks with no code and no integration. We launched Payment Links last month to make it even easier for anyone, from the solo entrepreneur to the largest enterprise, to get started faster with payments. If we log into Powder's dashboard, we can choose from our existing configured products or set up a new one. Once we've picked our product, we just need to set up a payment link, customize it based on our brand or product needs, and create the link. We now have a link that will take customers directly to a payment flow, great for sharing quickly in social campaigns, email, or to test a brand new product line. It's all the conversion optimizing power of Checkout, no code required. So that's Checkout, our hosted payments experience. But we know many businesses want additional customization in their checkout form, which is why we offer Stripe Elements. Elements is a set of pre-built components that let you build your own payment form that you can fully customize to your brand while still getting the benefits of a conversion-optimized and mobile responsive interface. If Checkout is a fully featured sports car already built for performance, Elements is a powerful engine you can build your own car around. And later this year, we're introducing a new set of elements that will offer even more conversion-focused features, like built-in support for all sorts of payment methods in addition to cards, and a new address autofill element that helps customers pay faster while giving you better data. It will also support one-click payments. Remember earlier when we saved our card details on Checkout with Powder? Now let's visit a business that's using Elements. Here's an example for Stripe's own book imprint, Stripe Press. You can see it's been customized to look and feel of Press with the logo and colors. And you can see there are a range of payment options. But if you want to keep things simple, you just need to type in your email address. And because we've already saved these payment details earlier with Powder, all we need to do now is confirm the purchase with a text message. We'll click Submit, and that's it. Completely different businesses, but because both are using Stripe's payment interfaces, they can share a seamless one-click experience with Link with Stripe. Link with Stripe lets customers store and reuse payment details for purchases across the entire Stripe network. It's currently live for businesses using Checkout, our hosted payment page, where you see it facilitates 5 times faster payments. Tens of millions of buyers have already saved their information with Link, and will be coming to Elements later this year. We've now looked at our web integrations, and for businesses who focus on native apps, we're also bringing many of these same conversion optimizing tools to our mobile SDKs. Our mobile integrations already offer modular components that make it easy to accept card payments in an iOS, Android, or React Native app. And the same payment method components for options beyond cards that we saw in Elements will be coming to mobile later this year. This new suite of UIs is designed to give your business tools to help improve conversion while still giving you flexibility to choose the right integration option. So we've talked a lot about removing friction by getting customers to click buy with optimizations to your UI, but we've still only talked about part of the story. One of the most important things you can do to get users to click buy is to offer the right payment methods. To tell you more about Stripe's approach here, I'm going to hand it back to Cameron.
Thanks, Sam. Like Sam said, offering the right payment methods is a critical piece of conversion. 45% of users will leave your site if they don't see their preferred payment option. 45%. And many of them may never come back. But it can be difficult to know what the right payment methods to offer even are because there are so many options. Around the world, only about 40% of online payments use credit cards, and the top 50 e-commerce markets have 75 different popular payment methods. If you're serving a global audience or even just trying to optimize preferences in your own country, this can get complicated. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how Stripe is approaching helping businesses enable and optimize payment methods. Historically, it's been a lot of work to get started with new payment methods. You might need to think about which ones to even offer based on your business model. If you're expanding internationally, you may need a local business entity and bank account to be able to support a payment option. You then have to set up and integrate the payment option with your systems, maybe even with a whole new partner. Already, you might be months into this process and you haven't even dealt with the headache of actually receiving the funds and reconciling your accounting across multiple providers. We want to change all of that. By building close integrations with payment method providers, Stripe helps eliminate all this setup. For all the payment methods you see here, including most of the popular ones for European customers, you can skip all this prep work, adding them to your integration in minutes. You'll get unified payments, payouts, and reporting all in one place, no matter what payment method. Today, Stripe Checkout lets you add these payment methods with a single line of code. But later this year, businesses using the new UI options Sam showed you earlier will be able to add new payment methods with just a few clicks in the dashboard. Stripe's payment UIs will then dynamically update the right payment methods based on your settings, your customer's location, their browser settings, and more. Adding all these payment methods not only improves your customer experience by giving them their preferred options, but it can also have huge results for your conversion. We saw uplift of up to 45% in some markets just from adding locally preferred payment methods. 45% more sales in the Netherlands by adding Ideal from a single line of code or single click. We're working on expanding this seamless approach to more payment options and continuing to add more local options for businesses around the world. So now we've looked at how optimizing your UI and payment options can help you get more customers to click buy, but that's still towards the top of our funnel. So let's look at the next step, fraud checks and payment validation. Before we even attempt to send a card payment to a network, Stripe checks to make sure it's a valid card, and Stripe Radar's machine learning models evaluate the payments for hundreds of signals to identify potential fraud. Radar can then proactively block suspected fraud or flag it for review. Radar's models are constantly updated to help stay ahead of fraud trends. We've also introduced new features to help you add extra authentication and protection when needed. For businesses in Europe who need to meet strong customer authentication requirements, Stripe's payments APIs are built to sense when authentication is needed and automatically request 3D Secure verification if so. We can even dynamically select between 3D Secure 1 and 2 based on which has a higher likelihood of success for a given payment. And for businesses using Checkout, we've added new features to help prevent card testing by automatically deploying CAPTCHA when an attack is suspected. You can learn more about how our machine learning works to help prevent fraud in our Radar product talk. After fraud, the next step in our funnel is authorization, which can be a particularly frustrating step. Even if you've gotten everything right about the funnel up until now, there's still another almost invisible step for card payments that can sometimes introduce unnecessary declines and cost you revenue. Declines can be surprisingly costly. Beyond the cost of lost payment, customers who are incorrectly declined may never return. But it can be hard to pin down those false declines. Often the data on why a payment was declined by an issuer is imprecise. While it varies, it's not uncommon for up to half of declines to come back with generic "do not honor" reason code. Sometimes that might mean the issuer thought the payment was fraud. Sometimes it's an expired card, and sometimes it's another minor error. What's happening in the back end is that an authorization request like this one gets handed between different partners, like issuing banks and card networks. Each of those partners might have a different formatting setup or set of rules on how to interpret the auth request. And if those don't align, you can see additional declines. As an example, if a customer types a UK postal code without the right spaces, some banks might approve the payment as is, and others might decline it because of formatting issues. When you multiply even a minor variation like this by thousands of different issuers and billions of payments, there's a lot of potentially lost revenue. So I want to highlight a few of the things Stripe has been working on to help address this challenge. First is adaptive acceptance, which recovered $3.4 billion in revenue for Stripe users last year. By applying machine learning data from across the Stripe network, including insights from Stripe's own issuing platform, We developed strategies to retry initially declined payments in real time, helping recover revenue. Next, we work on close integrations with networks and financial partners to help add features and improve data that can help reduce declines. Stripe is now directly integrated with 6 global card networks. This direct connection helps improve reliability, and it also provides us better data to improve acceptance rates. We also partner with networks to update details for lost or expired cards, and we're building network tokens, a new way of anonymizing card data directly with the payment networks, which helps increase acceptance rates. We've also introduced new programs to share data with issuers that can help inform their acceptance models and boost approval rates. With Discover, Stripe started passing additional data fields as part of auth requests, which reduced declines due to suspected fraud on Discover's side by 25%. Businesses will soon be able to see the impact of these features in the acceptance dashboard. And we've seen really powerful results across these efforts from some of our largest users. Postmates saw more than 2% acceptance lift across Stripe features like adaptive acceptance and network card updates, delivering an additional $70 million in revenue in 2020. And all of this uplift was without any additional effort. So once the payment is authorized, then we finally have a completed purchase. So now we've seen how Stripe is working across the funnel to improve conversion. From optimizations of your payments UI to real-time adjustments on the back end that can save lost transactions or help prevent fraud. If you want to dive even deeper into payment optimizations, you can learn more in the Conversion Optimization Workshop. And as a peek into what we're working on in the future, we're excited to introduce a new set of tools to help you understand your payments conversion. Later this year, you'll be able to see detailed information about performance across the funnel, including what happens after the payments with refunds and chargebacks. Beyond these new reporting tools, we have a lot planned as we continue to invest in improvements to our UIs, our fraud models, and our acceptance tools. And we're excited to continue to partner with you as we roll out more conversion and revenue boosting updates to Stripe. Thank you.